Hey, welcome everyone. Welcome to DC Unleashed. I'm Shane. As you can tell, I'm not the ordinary guy. Brian was unable to make it. He's working hot on something else, actually another video for you guys. So I'm filling in today. And today we're going to talk about James Gunn responding to Superman's runtime. Of course, James Gunn, Superman, coming out July 11th. We're 41 days-ish for the new Superman movie to come out. And I know we're all excited. Especially because we know DC has to get this one right. So let's go ahead and jump right into it here and see what this story is about. So it appears that on Wednesday, James Gunn took to Threads, which I don't use Threads, but that's great. He took to Threads to share an announcement about Superman. He said, excited to bring @Superman to audiences in China on July 11th. He wrote alongside a poster of the film in Chinese. Of course, they have to sell to China. China's got incredible amount of people that are going to watch the movie, and it's going to make Warner Brothers Discovery a ton of cash. So, of course, they're going to cater to China. So that's pretty normal. But in the comment section of the post, one of the Threads users wrote, "Hey, James, is the runtime for Superman locked? There's rumors that it's 2 hours and 2 minutes." In response, Gunn said that is not correct. It's almost totally locked, meaning we're just finishing a couple VFX, some visual effects shots over the weekend, but that's not the running time. So he basically said that's not the running time. I doubt he would probably lie about that. That's interesting. Thank you, James. Can't wait. And that's pretty much what the rumor was. So they came out and said, oh goodness, it's going to be 2 minutes, 2 hours, 2 minutes. Some of the people came back and said, well, some of the comments were, I hope it's going to be 2.5 hours long. Certainly hope the runtime is a little longer. I haven't seen Superman on my theater screen in over a decade. Long overdue worth the runtime. I hope it's longer than 2 hours and 10 minutes. I would watch a 5-hour movie, not going to lie. And of course, a lot of fans would, but this cannot be a miss. This movie is the launch pad for James Gunn's DC universe, and he can't mess it up. So let's figure out why this rumor came to place. And the reason why is because there's rumors that the movie underwent very significant changes after a test screening, and the runtime was cut. So people are kind of alluding to it being in trouble. A lot of this always happens with these movies. There's always a lot of rumors. You might get a couple nuggets that are true. Most are false. But if they did a screening, that means there's people out there who had a look at it. But let's take a look at this article and get some more information. According to a report by World of Real, tensions are high at Warner Brothers, where CEO David Zaslav and DC studio lead James Gunn and Pete Safran are scrutinizing every frame to avoid another franchise misfire. Looks like World of Real speaks of sources close to the production and mixed reception at a test screening that has the studio folks on edge. Part of the problem is Gunn's brand of humor, which may have dragged the film down in earlier, longer cuts. He leaned heavier on his jokes, reportedly, triggering a cascade of changes because his superiors were not entirely sold. Changes include tone, a runtime that stands at 122 minutes. So there you go. You're getting your 2 hours and 2 minutes there at last count. And trimmed comedic bits. We're not sure if this means there won't be any interdimensional cyber monkeys trolling social media, as you guys heard in earlier rumors, at Lex Luthor's bidding. That could still definitely be a part of it, but it sounds like, according to these rumors, at least there were a lot of cuts. They also hear that there is an editor that was removed to facilitate a slight reworking of the film's structure. I'm not sure why you would need to remove an editor to rework, unless the editor's like, hell no, this is good, and they said, get out of here, or they didn't like it, didn't want to do something Gunn wanted to do. Some key sequences were shuffled, and minor scenes were added during recent reshoots in a slight shift in how the story was being presented. Then another composer was hired to reshape the score, possible. While an insider called it slight course correction, there is a suggestion that the tone may have been in flux as recently as a few weeks ago. All in said, they're saying 25 minutes was trimmed off of the movie. Wow, that is a lot of trimming. To go from 2 hours and 27 minutes to 2 hours and 2 minutes, very suspect, but we'll talk about that in a second. And now DC and Warner Brothers, although nervous, want to get the first entry in their new superhero universe right. Reportedly, there is greater confidence. Reportedly now, there's greater confidence that Superman will be a better film. We know that James Gunn is the boss. Now, Zaslav is the boss, the big boss. And Zaslav is probably tired of losing. And he knows this needs, everybody involved knows this has to be a win. James Gunn knows this has to be a win. But Zaslav, he may look at something and have his opinion on what it's going to be, but he has to trust Gunn going into this. I mean, Gunn's success is unparalleled. So you go back to just Guardians of the Galaxy, fantastic, all great movies. I'm sure that he, had oversight. All of his Marvel movies had oversight. But here's the thing. When he came in to do Peacemaker, they unleashed him. Before that, he did Suicide Squad. And Suicide Squad was a great movie, had, a lot of humor. It was intense. Then that led into the Peacemaker series where, like I said, Gunn was completely unleashed for that. I mean, they let him just go, and it was very entertaining. People loved it. So my question, or what I would say to David Zaslav is, don't second guess Gunn. Just let him run with this Superman thing. He knows that if this movie isn't right, it's going to hurt everything that he's worked, over a year on now, 2 years on almost, that he's worked so hard for. So he knows that this has to be good. Trust his level of humor. And if David came in and said, well, maybe it's not that good, and maybe if they did do a test screening, the audience didn't laugh in certain parts, I have no doubt that Gunn's going to cut it up a little bit to make it a little sharper, to make sure people are enjoying the parts that he wants, and maybe he would cut a few things out. 25 minutes sounds really extreme. One thing I'll tell you is he wouldn't tell us if he did, that's for sure. These people are not going to say we cut 25 minutes of the movie because that's going to alarm people. What's going to be interesting, and I can't wait, is until this movie comes out and people start asking for the James Gunn cut. Well, what I can tell you is you're getting the James Gunn cut because, unlike a lot of the other directors like Snyder when he did his and the Donner cut, they weren't really in charge when they were making their movies. Well, guess what? James Gunn is in charge of this movie. You are going to get the James Gunn director cut. Now, if Zaslav decides he wants it a little shorter, maybe possibly, it could be longer and Gunn would like it, and we can get maybe an extended cut later, but we are going to be getting the James Gunn cut here. So I would not be surprised if the movie was at 2 hours and 2 minutes. I don't think it has to be a 2.5 hour movie to be good. I like my movies closer to 2 hours. Anything, right around 90 minutes feels a little too short for me. So I like it when it gets closer to 2 hours. Really looking forward to this, and hopefully this gives you guys a little bit more information and get you a little more excited about the movie coming up. And we'll have to see what ends up panning out later. But thank you guys for watching. Make sure you hit like, subscribe. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. And what would Brian tell you? Stay super. We'll see you next time.